Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is Lifestyle with Toluola, and I am so happy to have you here. How are you doing? How's your day been going? I hope you're having a splendid day. So, yeah, you're welcome. And this channel is just to share, talk, and learn from each other about lifestyle. Please don't forget to share what's opinions or thoughts you have in the comment section. And if you think you can teach, or share your own experience, the main thing we're interested in here is, just defeating ignorance. So if you know something and you feel I didn't get it right, please kindly share your thoughts. It's always welcome. So, in our previous videos, we talked about blood group, rhesus factor, genotype. So, we kind of dwelt on the health side of lifestyle. Like, lifestyle is really broad, and there's so many things to making sure we enjoy our lives and have healthy and beautiful lifestyle. So today we'll be talking about something else, and I hope we learn together, share together, and you know, have fun. Like, don't forget to like my videos, subscribe, share, and comment. Now, do you know that we as a society, even as individuals, as families, we can make life easier for people living with disabilities. You know, we can make life easier for people living with disabilities. You'll be wondering how is it going to cost me money? Is it by giving them some funds or something? Not necessarily. That is good. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but not necessarily. You can make life easier for people living with disabilities, especially people with wheelchairs that need to navigate around by building a simple thing called ramp. You know, we have so many public buildings in Nigeria and in other parts of the world, especially in African countries, that do not consider how people on wheelchairs are going to navigate, how they're going to access buildings easily. It's not the best. So you could be a construction engineer, a builder, an architect, or someone who is in a committee that is in charge of building, and maybe you every day you work in a building company, you build public buildings. So this is something you could do. It's not going to cost you anything. Just, include it in your plans when you're making plans for building or designs for buildings. It won't cost anything to include a ramp that will make it easier for people using wheelchair to navigate around buildings. I mean, many times, and it's even not too good, especially for public buildings. You build without considering people living with disabilities. A public building, you have churches, mosques, universities, public offices, secretariats. These are public buildings, banks. These are public buildings that is generally accessible to the public. These buildings should come with facilities, little facilities, you know, in place for people that are going to use wheelchairs to access the buildings. It's really sad that, in this part of the world, we don't consider that, but we can start today correcting ourselves. So if you're an engineer, if you're an architect, if you're a builder, if you're into building, or you're in some committee, you take decisions, you can, begin to make difference in that aspect. Begin to consider, how can we make this facility we are putting up, conducive for everyone, including people living with disabilities, people who use wheelchairs, that need to navigate buildings. You can begin to, even if you've even already finished it, you could find some way to correct. Okay, let's put a ramp here, a ramp there, just to make life better for people living with disabilities and having to use wheelchairs to navigate. It will make their life so much better, I tell you, and I'm sure they'll be really grateful. This is not to say that you shouldn't consider other people who have other disabilities. I'm just going to dwell on two today, but I believe these two should open your minds to other ways you could help other people with disabilities. For instance, little people. Now, take note of my use of little people. They are what we call words and terms that are not preferred or polite to use to categorize people. So you should be careful when you're using words. I don't know all the words, but I know that it is preferred to say little people instead of drafts. Um, Draft is not really the right term to use to people or to classify people who suffer that condition. Little people is preferred. I don't know if there's, because things change every day. Maybe some 2 years ago or 2 years after, this term would have changed. But for today, I think little people is the preferred terms. So, for instance, you don't build the normal toilets in a public space without considering them. There's no way they can reach up to the sink of the normal standard height that is used for sink or even toilets. So these are facilities that need to be put in place for them when you're making or constructing public buildings. So you put a sink, a toilet that they can easily reach and access. So these are just simple things that can be done to make life easy for people living with disabilities. Like I said, I'm just going to dwell on two, and I've dwelt on one, which is people using wheelchairs, how you can make ramps for them so that they can access buildings easily. I've also spoken about little people. If they need to use a public toilet, it will not be easy to use the standard toilets. You need to, if you're making or constructing public places, you need to put this in mind. So with these two examples, these two illustrations, I hope that your mind will widen in your next building or in your next construction or in the next committee you are in, where you have to make a decision about what you go into a building or not. You can also have these things in your personal house if you want, especially a ramp. A ramp is nothing. You can have that if you feel you want it. But if not, it's not a bad thing. But I really, really think that public buildings, see my emphasis on public buildings, should always consider this people living with disabilities, people using wheelchairs, people that find it difficult to access, because it's no fault of theirs. I think is sometimes when we make or construct these buildings and we don't put them in, it might be ignorance. it might be out of ignorance, but now that you know, we can correct this. We can start to do this. If you already have buildings that are already put up, you can include them. So this is where we'll stop for today, and I'm so happy that you were able to listen to the end. Thank you again. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. And until our next video,